Rooster here with a new episode of Chordplay. This is the Chords of Eric Gales and the Eric Gales Band, too. And I've had some requests to feature some more of Eric's music. And if you search on my channel, you'll find a 3-for-all episode surrounding Eric Gales a couple years ago. And that was a double shot with Eric Gales and then another episode with Joe Bonamassa because they were touring together. But definitely Eric's a very exciting and expressive and dynamic player. Very random, too. Like, you don't really know. Like, is he going to play a blues lick or a rock lick or start tapping like Van Halen or do a classical theme or gypsy jazz or something? I mean, he's really kind of spastic and random when he plays. But that makes his music and his, live performances and stuff very exciting. Because you don't know what Eric's going to do until he does it. A dynamite player. So the chords and rhythm guitar parts in this episode came from 3 Eric Gales related albums, and that's the first 2 Eric Gales Band, releases, the Eric Gales Band, the album, also Picture of a Thousand Faces, and then his first solo release, That's What I Am. And Eric's released somewhere around 17 studio albums, there's like 2 or 3 live albums, compilations, and he also appears on a lot of tribute albums to people like Hendrix and Clapton and Led Zeppelin. Definitely an essential guitarist, and he's very prolific too. But anyway, here we go. With the opening, that's the song Paralyzed from Picture of a Thousand Faces, and it's this funky groove riff. It's like Hendrix meets Cult of Personality or something. It's really cool, like this. G here, and it's got this busy, single note riff. You got to slide into this G. You're going to grab the octave and then go to F right there, and then that F to E, like the 6th. And then grab this B flat, G to F, and then you're going to shift that F right into G again, and that's going to start the riff over right there. Right there, and then start the riff again, that G to F. You can do that twice in a row, and then the third time you're going to go into that G octave, and then you come straight down like that F to D to C, slide down to that B flat, and then it's technically C over E right there, the fretted E note with that low E open, and then go to an F power chord right there, and then do that B flat, G, F, and then that G slide, and then do the first riff again. So that's the intro right there, basically. Then the verse starts, and he starts palm muting, and he gets a little bit quieter. Last time through that quieter verse part, he actually hits this F over A. It's just like the C over E we had here, but it's over a set of strings, and that's the like that. And then do that same B flat, G, F, slide into G. But check out Paralyzed. That's a great song. Next up's the song Fed Up With You. This came from the Eric Gales Band album, and this is kind of short and sweet, but I like the chords. It's pretty cool, like this. Something like that. So it's basically starting with this. You kind of hear that chord. That's an A7 sus4 right there. You're holding, this G and that E on the D and the B string, and then you're also grabbing that D note right there on the G string on the 7th fret, and then the open A. So think A7 sus4 right there. Give that 2 hits, and then you got this kind kind of single notes there, that G and A with the open A kind of mixed in, and you're just banging on that A7 sus4 and then that single note riff. Last time right there, you're going to do that 3 times in a row, and then the last time hit that A7 sus4 twice, and then just move over here and there's E7, hit that twice. And that's kind of the opening of the song. Except the song Bang That Bell. This came from Picture of a Thousand Faces, and it's pretty simple. It's kind of based around power chords, but a cool riff like this. Like that. It's got an interesting groove to it too. It's got this kind of lazy groove happening. So it's an E power chord to a G, and then you're going to slide this A up to B like that. And it's real, I don't know how to put it. I guess just put a lot of energy, and you know, it just kind of like slides and slips around everywhere. You know, it's not really cut or staccato or choppy. You want to let the chords ring and just kind of like, you know, slide around. You know, think Hendrix, big time. That kind of thing, and you're just kind of, you know, like moving and kind of mushing your way through those chords. Right there. Kind of moving from that G, and then it's like a, you know, an E with that, you know, D note, so it's kind of implied E7, and then you want to move into that E note like that, and then you're kind of going back into that riff. And the last time, so you're going to do that E to G, and then you're going to slide into this E. You're kind of coming down like the E blues scale right there. And you go right back into that riff again. Next up, Sign of the Storm. This came from the Eric Gales Band album, and I'm pretty sure I featured this in the I Love 90s Blues Rock Chords episode of Chordplay, but we're going to hit it again like this. Slides, and then he's playing with the A octave and that G note, and I'm just using my thumb. I mean, you could fret that with individual fingers, but I'm just using, you know, my thumb there to kind of wrap around and grab that root note. And you're just moving between that G and A like that with that low A note, you know, your thumb's grabbing like that. Do that 3 times in a row. And the first riff, or fill or whatever right there, that G power chord, and then you're going to walk down to that F right there. So it's kind of a finger twister because you got to get out of the way for the chord. Like that. Go right back into that A riff. In the second fill, you've got this, that F power chord, then slide that G to A, grab that C, and then end on that G power chord, like that. Next Next up's Temple of Deliverance. This came from Picture of a Thousand Faces, and there's actually 2 guitar parts here, kind of overdubbed, in the studio. I'm sure Eric, when he plays it live, he just plays them both together. And that's what I like to do when I find guitar parts like this. It's a challenge to play both parts like this. Cool riff. So bang 2 A power chords right there, and you got this little like B to A, C to A thing. So hit that B with some vibrato, and then pull off the C to A and then B to A, like after that A power chord, and then G right there, and then F major. Back to that G power chord. So once again, that is overdub. Like there's a guitar playing the chords and then another guitar played on top with that lead part. But you can kind of juggle both parts at the same time. I love doing stuff like this. It's hard, but it's a good challenge like that. Do all that again. And the verse right there, hit that A, and then you're starting to do this funky single note riff like this. Like that A, and then G, G sharp to A, and then go to that G power chord. Do that same kind of funky, single note riff. That F major. Right there, go to the Hendrix chord, E7 sharp 9. And then E flat to D. And then that G right back into A to start the whole riff again. Next up's the song She Shines. This came from That's What I Am, and this is really interesting. There's some interesting chords happening. It's a cool guitar part, like this. So it starts with a slide, and we're moving into this A power chord and kind of picking through it and spelling it out. Something like that. And then you're doing like this E7 over B, but you're also picking up that A note. And you're just kind of pulling off to that G sharp right there. And then right there you're doing a C sharp minor 7 like this. Right? But you're also going to play with that A note back there on the G string. Like that. Kind of doing like a pull off from that B to A. And then right there, right, it's like a D sus2, like that. Like that D note, that E, and that A. That's a really crafty way to play a D sus2 like that. So right there. Second time, you can see I'm doing a hammer-on pull-off right there between that A and B. You know, on that C sharp minor 7 chord. So you're going to cycle through that a few times, and then when the change happens, then it's basically an F sharp minor 11, like that, to a D sus2 over A, like this. Right? And do the F sharp minor 11 again. And then D sus2 over A. And then you're going to add a B right there, and that actually changes that to a B at 11. Something like that. Back to the last but not least is Blue Misty Morning. This also came from the album That's What I Am, and I think this is one of my favorite Eric Gales songs. I mean, it just kicks ass. It's like this twisted blues. It's so cool, like this. Stuff like this. Just take the blues and then twist it like crazy. So now we got a B minor 7 that we're spelling out, but you might not want to fret it like bar, you know, like that. You might want to fret the notes individually, because on that last note there's some vibrato, and that would be really hard to do if you're barring, you know. So fret those notes separate like that, that B, that A, and that D note, and then that's going to change to a B flat 7. So you're still targeting that D, but now it's a B flat 7 right there. And move that down a half step, now it's A7. Move that down a half step, A flat 7. Move that down a half step, now it's G7. And right there, move down another half step, now it's G flat 7. You're going to play the root note and then strum the chord. And then you're going to basically move from that G flat 7 to F7. And then right there end on E7 in open position like that. And that's really just the bottom 4 strings. Don't worry about the B or the high E. Like that. What a cool, like, simple riff, but it just kicks your ass. That's going to wrap this episode of Chordplay with the Chords of Eric Gales. Definitely a very interesting guitarist, very expressive and unique. I mean, definitely I've noticed Eric Gales from the very beginning. I think the first time I noticed him, it was in an old Guitar World magazine. It had Van Halen on the cover. I think Dream On by Aerosmith was in that episode, maybe Finish What You Started. It's weird how you can remember magazines. But in that issue, I remember there was like a feature or whatever with Eric Gales. I think there might have even been a lesson in there. And there was discussion about, you know, Hendrix. I mean, of course, left-handed blues rock African-American guitarist. You're going to get compared to Hendrix. I mean, that's inevitable. But Eric's much more than just like a Hendrix clone or something. He definitely has his own identity and style, his own approach. And like I mentioned during the intro, he's a very dynamic and exciting player, because when I see like live clips and footage of him playing, it's exciting. You know, it's not like a boring concert or whatever. It's like you don't know what he's going to do. He might jump up and just start rocking out. He might pass it to the bass player and let somebody else solo or whatever. But I really like watching him. You know, it's exciting. It's like, wow, what's he going to do next? You know, great player. So anyway, leave some feedback and comments. Please subscribe to Layout Lessons, and I'll be back before you know with more content and material. Thank you.